This basically was a two-part video on how I tore the bin down, got rid of the earwigs. Now I'm showing how I built the flow through, and I'm putting it back with the worms. As of right now, I have worms here, 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 and two of them over here. And the thing is, these get so heavy, it almost takes two people to take them down. If it gets that deep in compost, it's almost impossible to handle it. Okay, now I have most of the compost out of here, the vermicompost. This is what's left inside the flow-through bin. I'm fixing to hook the shop back up and pull all the compost out, put it in the garden. Then I'll remove the cardboard and show you all how I built this flow-through bin and how I'm going to put it back and put the worms back in it.
Now, what happened to all that cardboard and stuff that was in
I
here?
took the cardboard out and took it out and put it in my garden. Laid it on in my garden, covered it with grass. It'll be composted next year. This is a homemade, out of scrap lumber flow-through bin. Compost is extremely heavy. This kept it from tearing this wire down and caving in the sides. This spreader holds the bin open. It won't let it close when the weight starts bearing down on it. This is copper wire that I had in the shed. So what I did, tension this copper wire, and pulled it tight and made it stable. Now, since compost is so heavy, this supports the weight here, and it braced all the way to the concrete floor. Worm compost is extremely heavy, extremely heavy. This center pipe has got a piece of threaded rod in it, and it's got the pipe over it to keep it from grinding on the cardboard until I get it together. Press down tight. Then when you put your bedding in here, your worms, you just throw this over on top of them. It keeps the bedding moist, it keeps the worms happy, and they'll stay in there.
There was a roach just ran by your arm.
Huh?
A roach just ran across.
It won't hurt. Oh yeah, you're gonna have different insects. You're gonna have earwigs, gnats, little roly-polies. They're gonna be in here. And the reason I'm showing this now is I had to take this bin totally down on account of the earwigs killing my worms. I cleaned it and I'm putting it back together, and I thought I wanted people to see how easy it is to make a simple flow-through bin. You don't have to use copper wire. You can go to the hardware and get number 9 wire.
And why did you use copper wire?
Because I had it. I had copper wire here, and I used it. I had old fence board. I used it. Old fence post. I used it. If you look around my shed, I don't throw anything away. And sooner or later, I will find it useful. Okay? And this flow-through bin, as the cardboard, it's over a period of time with water and the compost on top of it and the worms eating into it, which they will, the cardboard will deteriorate. All right, when that happens, usually your compost is built up above the bottom, and it's pretty solid down deep, but it's soft on top. This is a hoe fork for chopping weeds in your garden. You take this, or a garden rake, go underneath, come up inside. You go underneath, come up through here and start doing this. And your compost falls.
So typically you would have open bins under there.
Open bins.
Not this stuff. You're just using that for storage right now?
Yeah, I'm just using this for storage right now.
So you would have just open bins to capture the compost? Capture the compost?
Either open bins, or I would spread the black visqueen, and that way I can get it out, keep the floor clean, and contain it. But this has worked great until the earwigs got into it. Overpopulated, I should say.
How many worms did you kill?
25,000, I'm guessing. It was about 25 pounds of worms in there.
How many worms are you going to start this bed with?
I'm guessing I got maybe 8 pounds. It's hard to tell, they breed so fast. But,
So about how many will that be?
1,000 worms is considered 1 pound. It might be, if it's big worms, it might be 950. If it's little worms, it might be 1,200. But 1,000 worms, usually is what they consider 1 pound of red wigglers.
So you're going to start this bed with all 8,000-ish?
Yep. Well, no, I'm gonna start it with about 4,000, and I'm gonna keep that back until I'm sure this bed is back where it needs to be. I won't put everything in one pot.
Why did you start completely over when you had the earwig issue? Why did you start completely over?
I did not want to try and take and run the compost through my separator and use it and sell it. So I put all that in my garden. Now it's all gone. It's out in the garden. Now I took it all the way down. I mean, all the way. All the cardboard come out, everything.
Why didn't you want to sell it?
Earwigs, if people wasn't aware of them and didn't understand the eggs, they lay a lot of eggs, and they would have hatched in somebody else's garden, or maybe their house plants, and that's a no-no. So anyway.
That's very ethical and honorable of you. That's very honorable of you.
No, it's just that if somebody did it to me, I'd be terrible upset. So by doing this, I'll start over with no earwigs at all, period. And I'll make sure I don't get them. The bad thing about it, the way I think the bad thing is, instead of going back to my old tried and true, grass, leaves, compost, to keep from throwing it in the landfill, I'm gonna go back with peat moss. Because I know that's earwig free. My peat moss, my shredded paper, I don't know, I might try to figure out a way to sterilize that grass to make sure there's no eggs in it. If I can do that, I'll go back to using that.